just barely avoid getting caught. Next, we find out that Scooter Grubbs is dead. They found his body that the kids couldn't, and everyone's on high alert to find the boat because the boat was a really good boat. Apparently, one was called like the Grady Marine or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. There's it was the good boat. It was a special boat. And John B is wondering, like, how did this marina rat, who's apparently never had more than $40 in his pocket in his life, manage to get a decent boat and have plenty of money? Like, this is probably there's stacks of $100 bills. Like, it's not stacking onesie. There's some good amount of money here. And John B and co are kind of now considering getting the cargo inside the boat underwater, but they have to stay low key for now. So they decide to host. And really, what is my favorite scene? This is the scene that really drew me in here. This keg party. Like, they get a keg party going on the beach. And what do you think of this? What do you think of this?
Well, hosting the party was a good idea, but like JJ, like
how does that? I don't know really how it helped them stay low key though.
Yeah, I mean, boys, I don't know. Everyone has drinks. They get bound to like fight, and then
yeah. So, pretty much what happens is, half at the party, really around the halfway point, there's this guy named Topper who's dating the girl who tried to hit birds with a tennis racket earlier in the episode. And it's clear that John B and Sarah have some tension between them, and Topper, her boyfriend, senses it. So, and then there's a fist fight between the two teens. And how does that start again? So I think what happens is, like, they're offering a drink. Like, so Topper and Sarah, they're both obviously rich. They're kooks. Mm-hmm. And they're starting to leave. And kind of being like, who wears a button-down shirt to a beach party? Like, This guy wakes up in a button-down shirt. Like, just go away. Like, just stop it. And JJ kind of starts mocking the girlfriend and the boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And what does he say? Like, doesn't he say something that, like, really sets him off? And
yeah, no, I think it was John B and JJ. John B and Topper fought, and then went into the water.
Yeah, because he says, like, you dirty kooks, and that's just like,
no, you dirty pogues.
Or pogues, and it's like you kind of get a sense, like, that's where you really kind of get a sense that it's like it's not entirely one-sided, because at first we've only seen the animosity from their side, but they're really, would you say, because you obviously have seen the whole season, like, is there, like, legitimate... Does the animosity on the Pogue side match the animosity on the Cook side?
Definitely. Like, one time, I think John B said that Topper's only, like, view of the Pogues was that they should be mowing his lawn.
Yes, that's what he said. They were bred to mow lawns. Is everyone like Topper, though? Or are people, like, they're just... Because most people, like, I kind of would... If I had to assume, it's like they kind of look down on the Pogues with kind of, like, a just slightly... scorn them, but mostly look on them kind of indifferently.
Yeah, there's some kooks who, like, they know, like, Topper, who are, like, entitled,
who are just
like,
actively
nothing.
hate
the
poor
people. And
people.
then they, like, tell all these, like, good-hearted people, like Sarah, like Sarah, like, this isn't much of a spoiler, but later on she gets to know, like, the Poe group, and like she becomes really good friends with them, because before she thought, like, they were
she becomes friends with the Poe group.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, but like she thought they were like no one, she shouldn't, like, go with them, and they were, like, too dangerous and, like, dirty.
Yeah, so she's just, like,
based on what people have told her, like,
so there was a bunch of, like, bad misconceptions of, like, because it's not like you suck, but you're, like, scum. You're not, like, they're a bad influence, pretty much. It's kind of like the vibe.
Yeah.
Like, they're less than. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that's important that we kind of, like, establish the dynamics here. But yeah, so it's a really kind of interesting fight, and what happens is Topper literally he kind of goes crazy after John B comes after him after he says, "You dirty pogues," and starts drowning him in the ocean, which is insane. First of all, like, who does that? That's just absolutely crazy. I'm sure there's a bunch
right
of...
from wrong.
No one was actively... I mean,
They were yelling at him.
I mean, maybe alcohol was a bit of a factor. I mean, it was a keg stand party after all. I think definitely with what JJ did, because what JJ did is because he takes the gun from the motel room, which, by the way, he stole because he loves stealing things, takes it up in the air and is like, get off our side of the island, like it's gang wars or something like that, and just goes pow, 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 and just like shoots them off. And
did he point a gun at Topper's head, right?
Yes, he did. And he points a gun at Topper's head and is just like, that is what you think it is, buddy. Like, get up. Like, it's your time to leave. And he, like, that was like, in this confrontation, whose side are you on?
I mean, not really.
Where do you come down as Judge Tatum? Where do you come down on this?
Basically, I know JJ. He's just like that, but he shouldn't have done it because it's just gonna lead to worse and worse things. Like the kooks are gonna be like, he pointed a gun at you. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna hurt him? Like
they'll push him to do
worse.
Worse things in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of shame.
And like guns is big stuff.
But also John B was mauled and smoked by Topper, which is pretty embarrassing for him. So there's that dynamic as well.
I mean, if I had the gun and I had like JJ's mentality, I think I would shoot it up in the air, but I wouldn't like point it at him.
I would just be like,
I would be like,
clip the toe, maybe clip the toe. I mean, I would, yeah. You point out at the back of his head because, like, that's like you're killing him. Like it's really serious to hold someone's head underwater for that long. Like to me, I am completely on the side of anti-Topper, pro John B and JJ
but there's
here.
Better ways to do it. Like,
yeah,
get yourself in trouble later on.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely completely fair, but it's I definitely think it's kind of fair that he did, because that's like some really low stuff. Like that's ending someone's life is what that is. So then we kind of find out more about John B. He narrated the days before his father vanished. He told them he, quote, found something. Then the next day he wakes up at home, and then there's a sassy black police officer being like, John B., did you see anything in the marsh yesterday? And then he's like, he's definitely did. He saw a boat down there of this guy that now everyone's frantically looking for. And people are like, what, where's this boat? Where's Scooter's boat? Where's this big, and remember, the boat's a good boat. So people are like really trying to look for it. But this kind of scene and this kind of really intrigue drew me in. Like, I wonder if you were first watching it, did you kind of feel the same thing, or
like the fact that he shouldn't have that boat?
No, the confluence of like the fight scene that happened. Like, what was that really like? What in this show made you decide that you wanted to watch it?
Yeah, I did. Like in the beginning, I thought I wouldn't want to watch it, but then I got into it based on like my friends. But like, I think it's just like the action and like, I don't know, the way like they live. I don't know.
What do you mean by like the way they live?
It's just so like they go on boats every day, and
it's like it's a fun
to get places and
like. Do you think it was like kind of the conflict too that played a part, like the animosity and like the factionalism of it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think that to me was really kind of like that fight scene. I was like, oh damn, I did not expect it. Like, so like that's the playing field that we're dealing with right here. Like that kind of like that leveled it up for me almost. But yeah. So there is this officer who comes in whose name is Peterkin, right? Mm-hmm. How does he know Peterkin, by the way? Because I was kind of confused about it. Like, this is the sheriff suddenly just strolling into his house.
Well, it doesn't really tell you that, but I guess like I said before, like you can like assume that she's kept an eye on him because he doesn't have any real guardian around. So that's like her job.
Because of the child care situation. Yeah. And she says, she's like, I'm willing to help you, wink, wink, nod, nod, if you help me, tit for tat. And it's like, please help me with this thing that we're dealing with the marsh right now. And yeah, so the police officer says that they found a body in the marsh, and asked questions about whether John B. had found a boat. The officer then threatens him with foster care in juvenile prison, juvie. John B. still states that he knows nothing about any kind of shipwreck. No boat in the marsh. Yeah. I mean, if you found Scooter Grubbs, though, right? Like, shouldn't you probably be starting in that area looking for the boat? Like, it makes sense.
But he probably floated. I'm not very comfortable.
That's true, because there was a hurricane. Yeah. There was a hurricane, so you assume he probably would have moved a little bit.
Yeah, John B does a lot of, like, lying to the cops in this, like, season. And I feel like some of it he could have told the truth. Like, I think he's been raised to know that, like, you should never trust the cops or something. But maybe...
Yeah, I think that's another thing that I agree with.
Some of the things he could have gotten help from. Like,
at that scene, I didn't really know what she wanted him to say, because I was like, she wants him to come forward and provide information to her so they can help find the boat. And then when he's like, no, she's like, yeah, that's good. Stay away from that boat. It's easier for both of us if you weren't there and never were there. But it's like, he was there and he could provide information about you. Like which is it? You know, like, I don't know.
Maybe it was just because, like, the child services wouldn't like him getting into all that stuff, and it's better if, like, no one knew he was there. Yeah, he definitely seems like a kind of guy that would not be happy anywhere but the banks and the cut, as they say. Yeah, so after pretty heated arguments between John B. and JJ about the night before, JJ tells John B. that as teens without money, they have nothing to lose. There's that attitude that you talked about. By checking out the shipwreck again. So that kind of ends with a search party looking for Scooter's boat. John B. and company also head out. John B. heads to the... This is also a pretty interesting scene. I mean, I'm trying to decide here. In the moment, it feels good. Like, it feels like it makes sense and, like, it's realistic. But now that I kind of think back on it, this scene here, as pretty much what happens is John B. heads down to the shipwreck boat with limited oxygen, and the deputy sheriff who's frankly... And by the way, I completely forgot about this. So they come in the hotel, flashback to the motel room after the safe. After the boys go through the safe, the cops come in and they rummage through the safe, and he takes out a stack and hands it to the other officer. And it's like, we got to dip our beak in somehow, right? Yeah. Wink, 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 wink. You know he's shady.
Yeah, he is a very, very shady man. And sometimes, I trust shady men to get the job done because it's like, they're not idealistic,
Yeah.
They see the world with clear eyes, and they know what's going on. Because their wool isn't easily pulled over their eyes because they pull wool over other people's eyes sometimes. But yeah, this guy who's flagrantly looking corrupt... At this point, he kind of hops on the boat, and he goes, this is again, as John B. is diving with a stolen air tank, which I do believe he stole from Sarah's boat.
Yeah.
It's the Druthers, right?
Yeah, like, he works at my Druthers. He works for Sarah's dad, and he, like, does maintenance on the boat or something. And so he just went in the morning, and he stole a scuba tank.
Uh-huh. And then Sarah caught him.
Yeah, but then she's like, I'll let you go. And then... her sister was there too, so she's a snitch.
Oh yeah, she seems very annoying. But and then she's like, do we really have to have the war between the kooks and the pogues? This
Sarah
is like,
said that?
Yeah, and just like, this is so stupid. And then John B's like, easy to say when you're a pogue or a kook. Let me get this confused. These are kind of stupid names in my opinion.
Yeah.
But It's like you just your boyfriend just tried to drown my best friend, like literally tried to kill him, like that's, or tried to drown me, excuse me, like that. Like you tried to tell your boyfriend not to drown me, then maybe we could talk about any kind of like a peace agreement here, like this, like that. I was getting mad. If I were in that situation, I would not have handled it as calmly and coolly as John B. did.
Yeah, like all the pogues, they're like so susceptible to peer pressure because, like, I don't know, they just do whatever their friends want them to do. Like, you're gonna get them back, right? Like, that's what they do.
There's like, a lot of like pushing.
They'll be like kicked out if they don't like push back.
The pogues, like
the kooks. Sorry.
Oh,
like
the kooks.
The rich guys. Yeah.
My bad. So wait, there's a lot of like, it's kind of like a fraternal club.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I mean, I don't think you get kicked out. You can just get a little outcasted.
You get out, like shunned. Yeah, like social. Like it's like you're written out of the group.
But you'll still have your house.
Yeah, you still have your 2 houses, your summer house, your boarding school. private school kids, man. I don't know. Yeah, so the deputy comes into the